Who's going to be the next British Prime Minister? Well, it's going to be one of 13 candidates. So today, let's talk about all 13 candidates, who they are and what they stand for. So first up is James Cleverly. He's a 49-year-old Leave voter, he used to be the deputy chair, and before becoming an MP, he used to work in military service. He says that remaining in the EU is for the birds, but he hits out at artificial solutions for leaving. He says that he would not prefer to leave without a deal, and he has previously defended Islamophobes. 4 MPs out of 313 support him, and he has a 30-1 chance at the bookies. Michael Gove, the 51-year-old Leave voter, former Environment Secretary, Education Secretary, and Justice Secretary. Of course, he's well experienced and a very good speech maker, but he wants to delay Brexit until 2020 and is against a no deal. And of course, most famously, he backstabbed Boris Johnson back in the 2016 leadership race. His chance of becoming an MP is 7-1 by the bookies, and 29 MPs support it. Then we have Sam Gyimah, the 42-year-old Remainer, former universities minister and investment banker. He resigned over May's deal, but is in favour of a second referendum, which isn't popular with the Tory party. He has just 1 MP supporting him, so he's very low chance of him actually becoming Prime Minister. Matt Hancock, the 40-year-old Remainer, former Health and Social Care Secretary and software engineer. He wants to create an Irish border council at the Irish border, but of course he was absent from the no deal vote. He has 12 MPs supporting him and a 40-1 chance at the bookies. Mark Harper, the 49-year-old Leave voter, former Immigration Minister, Disabilities Minister, Chief Whip, and before becoming an MP, an accountant. He's against extension in favour of a no deal, but when he was Immigration Minister, net migration rose, and his cleaner, who was working for him, didn't have the right to stay in the UK at the same time as being Immigration Minister. 5 MPs support him, and he has a 100-1 chance, a very outsider chance, of becoming the next Prime Minister at the bookies. Jeremy Hunt, 52-year-old Remainer, former Foreign Secretary, Health Secretary, Culture Secretary. He has top-level experience, endorsement from the US President along with Boris Johnson, and he wants to keep no deal on the table. But of course, he is best known for being Health Secretary during the NHS crisis and favours extension and renegotiation, which isn't popular amongst Tory members who prefer to leave the EU without a deal. 29 MPs support him, and he has a 14-1 chance at the bookies, so very likely to be the next Prime Minister. Sajid Javid, the 49-year-old Remainer, former Home Secretary and bank manager. He says no to a second referendum or election or revoking Article 50 and is in favour of a no deal. Of course, he voted to remain back in 2016 and he's not very well experienced. 17 MPs support him and he has a 20-1 chance at the bookies. Boris Johnson, 54-year-old Leave voter, former Foreign Secretary and London Mayor. Of course, he's a very popular, straight talker in favour of leaving the EU without a deal. But of course, he is extremely hated by Liberals, seen as a clown. He has a court hearing on that £350 million a week claim that he printed on the side of a bus, and he voted for the withdrawal agreement in the end, so Nigel Farage does not trust him. 30 MPs support him, and he's a 7-4 chance at the bookies, the most likely candidate to be the next Prime Minister. Andrea Leadsom, 56-year-old Leave voter, former Leader of the House of Commons and Environment Secretary. Of course, she resigned when May offered a customs union vote or a second referendum vote to Parliament, and is against renegotiation. She wants a managed no deal. But of course, back in 2016, she had to pull out of the race to become the next leader because of comments she made towards Theresa May, claiming that because Theresa May doesn't have children, that makes her a better candidate because she does. 4 MPs support her, and she has a 61 chance at the bookies. Kit Malthouse, the 56-year-old Leave voter, Deputy Mayor of London, former Met Police Chair, famously has the Malthouse Compromise, the managed no deal, and he supports replacing the backstop. But of course, Malthouse failed in Parliament, and he's not very well experienced when it comes to top-level front-bench jobs. 7 MPs support him, and he's a 100-1 chance at the bookies. Esther McVey, the 51-year-old Leave voter, former Work and Pension Secretary, Deputy Chief Whip, and children's presenter. She is in favour of leaving on the 31st of October and wants an invisible border in Northern Ireland. However, she voted against gay rights a lot, and she has misled Parliament on universal credit. Is she trustworthy? 6 MPs support her. She has a 50-1 chance at the bookies. Dominic Raab, the 45-year-old Leave voter, former Brexit secretary and solicitor, he resigned because of the withdrawal agreement and is against the divorce bill. But of course he has fallen flat on his face in his understanding of the UK's trade at Dover in the past, and he didn't do well enough in the first place as Brexit secretary to get a good deal, which meant him resigning. So 23 MPs support him, and he's a 7-1 chance at the bookie. Another likely next Prime Minister, Rory Stewart, the 46-year-old Remain voter, former International Development Secretary and former Labour Party member. He understands Parliament won't accept a no deal, and he has a very strong online campaign. However, he supports the withdrawal agreement, the most unpopular agreement in political history. 5 MPs support him, and he has a 12-1 chance of becoming the next Prime Minister at the bookies. But who do you think should be the next Prime Minister? Join in the debate below and subscribe.